Assalamu alaikum students. I hope you are all fine and you are having good time at your home. Today we will discuss page number 27 and page number 28 of our unit number 3, Photosynthesis and Respiration in Plants. Firstly, we will discuss why food is important. I hope you are all aware that food is important because number 1, it helps to grow, it gives energy. Now, energy is one of the most important thing for a living body because it helps to carry out all the activities. So, the food gives you energy. Now, what happens to the food that you eat? The food that we eat is digested and stored in the body. How this food gives energy. This is the most important thing. The food we eat, how that food is converted into energy, which is the essential requirement for all living things. The food we eat is converted by a chemical process known as respiration. In this process, energy is released. Now, this is the most important thing. The food is converted by a process, and this process is known as respiration. And in the result of this process, energy is released, which is requirement for all living things. Now, what happens in this process? For all chemical processes, every chemical process starts with some ingredients or some reactants. And in the process of respiration, the reactants are number 1, food, number 2, oxygen. Food is obtained by the digestive system in animals, and in plants it is obtained from the process of photosynthesis, while oxygen is present in the atmosphere. Now what happens is the food and oxygen combine together or they react with each other to give out carbon dioxide, water, and energy is released. See what happens in the respiration. It is a process that the body uses to release energy from digested food. Glucose. The food is in the form of glucose, stored food in your body. Glucose from the digestive system in animals and from the process of photosynthesis in plants combines with oxygen which comes from the breathing system in animals and from the air in plants give out carbon dioxide, which is a waste product. It means that it is no more useful for a living body, plus water, which is also a waste product that is not useful now, plus energy is released, which is a useful thing for all the living things to carry out their life processes. Food plus oxygen will give carbon dioxide plus water plus energy is released. Carbon dioxide and water are the waste products, which means that they are no more useful for the living body, so that's why they are expelled out. Respiration. A respiration is a process by which plants and animals obtain energy, and it is done by breaking food in a chemical process, and this chemical process is known as respiration. It is rather like burning, but without the heat and flames. Now, this is important. Respiration is similar to burning. You will be amazed to know this because in burning, it comes in your mind that there is some heat, there is some light, there are some flames. But there is nothing like this in our body because respiration is taking place inside the body and there is no heat, no light, no flames. But burning and respiration are similar to each other. How? Number 1, they both use oxygen. In burning, the fuel is burnt in the air. The fuel is either oil, either petrol, either gas. It burns in the air in which oxygen is present. Whereas in respiration, the food is burnt with the help of oxygen. The food is broken down with the help of oxygen. So they both use oxygen in their processes. Number two, both give out carbon dioxide as a waste product. Both give out carbon dioxide as a waste product. It's not useful in both the processes, so it is expelled out. In burning, heat, light, and flame is produced, which is a form of energy. But in the process of respiration, the energy is released, but it is not in the form of heat, light, or flames. So we say that burning and respiration are similar to each other because they both need oxygen to break down. The process of respiration in plants involves the sugars produced during photosynthesis. Sugar means the glucose, the digested food in the body, plus oxygen to produce energy for plant growth. Yes, now they use sugars, that is the digested food, and oxygen for the process of respiration. In many ways, respiration is the opposite of photosynthesis. This is an important line that respiration is the opposite of photosynthesis. How? You are aware that in photosynthesis, what does plant do? The plant makes its food by using carbon dioxide from the air and it releases oxygen in the air. Whereas in respiration, the plants use oxygen and release out carbon dioxide. So they both are opposite to each other. That is why we say that respiration is the opposite of photosynthesis. In the natural environment, plants produce their own food to survive. Plants are producers. They produce their own food by the process of photosynthesis. And in the process of respiration, they give energy. The air you breathe out, we are talking about the animals. The air you breathe out contains extra carbon dioxide and water produced by respiration. So carbon dioxide and water is released out in the process of breathing in animals. Now what happens in plants? How plants get rid of this carbon dioxide and water? Plants respire and carbon dioxide and water from stomata in its leaves. Now what happens in plants? When plants respire, the carbon dioxide and water, which is the waste product of respiration, comes from stomata into the leaves. Now what are stomata? Stomata are basically small openings that are under the leaves, and you are aware of this. You have already read about stomata, how they function and what actually happens. So stomata are the openings where carbon dioxide and water is removed from the plants. One of the most important thing now, gases in balance. As plants are continuously taking carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen in the process of photosynthesis. But on the other hand, they are taking oxygen in and getting rid of carbon dioxide. So, what happens to the percentage of these both gases in the air? Because all the living things continuously respiring. So the balance of these gases should be maintained in the air. Animals and plants both are respiring all the time. Yes, both of them are respiring. It means that they are breaking down their food and releasing energy, expelling out carbon dioxide and water from their body and using oxygen. They both need a steady supply of oxygen because in the process of respiration, all living things need oxygen to break down food. So, a continuous supply of oxygen is required by all the living things. In photosynthesis, plants make more oxygen than they need in respiration. Now, plants, what do in the photosynthesis is that they take in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and release oxygen. The amount of oxygen released during the photosynthesis process is more than the amount of oxygen they take in during the process of respiration. What plants do at night? The photosynthesis stops. At night, photosynthesis stops because there is no sunlight, and the process of photosynthesis uses sunlight energy to carry out. So at night, the process of photosynthesis stops. At night, they use less oxygen than they give out during the day, because at daytime the process of photosynthesis takes place, and in this process oxygen is continuously released out. But when at night the plant is respiring, it is using the oxygen, but it is in a very small amount than it has released at daytime. So what do plants do? Plants basically release oxygen at daytime during the process of photosynthesis, and they respire at night when there are no clouds and no photosynthesis takes place. So they are using that oxygen. What happens overall? Plants take in carbon dioxide and give out surplus oxygen. Surplus oxygen means a more amount of oxygen, while animals take in oxygen and give out surplus carbon dioxide. And what happens? Animals basically take in what? Animals basically take in oxygen, which is released by the plants, and it releases out extra carbon dioxide from the body. They keep the gases in balance in the atmosphere. Plants and animals are both keeping the gases in balance in the atmosphere. Plants are continuously releasing out oxygen, which is taken in by the animals in the process of breathing and respiration as well. Plants do respire and take in oxygen, but it is in a very small amount than it released in the daytime. So the gases keep in balance in the atmosphere with the help of plants and animals. Now see in this picture, I hope you all may be noticing that in diagram A, respiration at night, it's showing that how the tree respires at night, or what happens during respiration at night. Oxygen is taken in and carbon dioxide is given out. Now see the next diagram. Respiration and photosynthesis, both are taking place. I hope you can point out that which is photosynthesis and which is respiration. The one in which oxygen is released out in the atmosphere and carbon dioxide is taken in is photosynthesis, while on the other hand, in which oxygen is taken in and carbon dioxide is taken out is respiration. So I hope this diagram is clear to you that what happens during respiration at night and what happens during respiration and photosynthesis both. The importance of photosynthesis. Very, very important. Photosynthesis is one of the most important processes because without photosynthesis, green plants cannot produce their own food. Photosynthesis is not just important for green plants. All other living things depend upon its very existence. Photosynthesis is not just important for green plants. It is important for all the living things because all other living things directly or indirectly depend on plant for their food. Plants use sunlight to make food and use it to grow. Now what happens is during the process of photosynthesis, the plant uses sunlight to make its food. Animal use this plant matter. Yes, animals eat it. Animals use this plant matter. They use it as a food for them. Suppose if you eat meat, what happen is that you are using some of the energy that the animal obtained from the plant. Yes, if you are eating meat, it means that indirectly you are eating that plant which the animal has taken, because the animal consumed that plant's energy, and then when we ate that meat, it means that we are using the plant's energy as well. Energy that first came from the sun is passed on through all the different living things on earth. Energy that first came on the earth is in the form of photosynthesis, which is the food made by the plants. And this energy is then passed on to all other living things. Suppose animals eat plants, animals eat animals. So, this energy is transferred to all the living things on the earth. The very first energy comes from the sun. Suppose for a while you think that if there is no photosynthesis, what happen? I hope you all will answer this, that plants would not grow because there would be no food for them, and food helps to grow and food gives energy. There would be nothing for animals to eat, and there would be nothing for animals to eat too. So they would not exist either. And without green plants, there would be no oxygen in the air. Very important. During the process of photosynthesis, what happens is that the plants release out oxygen, which is important for all other living things, including we humans. Now, what happens is that if there is no photosynthesis, there would be no oxygen in the air. As you all know, that plants are known as the lungs of the nature. They give us oxygen to breathe, and we or all other animals basically require this oxygen for their survival. So, overall, what we have read in this chapter is that how plants make food and how that food is broken down to give plants or animals or other organisms energy, and this energy comes from the process of respiration. And you have read in this chapter that how photosynthesis is done and how respiration is carried out. So I hope the chapter is clear to you. Wish you good luck, and inshallah you will be when you will be going through all the slides again, you will be clear and you will understand the concepts. Thank you all of you. Allah Hafiz.